Good evening, Sandra. Good evening, Rajata. So, yeah, uh, we'll start the session. Others can join in meantime. In today's session, we are going to discuss central government education departments, institutions, and their work. And we're also going to discuss about the major committees that were formed and what were the major recommendations given by them. Our team, Page Academy, our team members have prepared these two documents with a lot of work because they had to collect a lot of information from various sources. So they were able to do this and prepare it for all of you. This will be also shared with you. Whereas I'll also be discussing this in today's session. And if you have any doubt anywhere, you can ask me. Shall we start the session then? So the first document that we are going to discuss today is the central government education departments and institutions. So let us discuss the list of central government departments year-wise. So first one is University Grants Commission, UGC. UGC was established in the year 1956 and it's stationed at New Delhi. So the headquarters of UGC is in New Delhi. What are the key points? What are the key functions of UGC? UGC is an autonomous body under Ministry of Education, MOE. Okay, what is the role of UGC? UGC regulates higher education and funds universities. Okay, the main purpose of UGC is to regulate higher education and also to fund universities. So if you recall all the major universities that are there across India, their teacher salary, the funding of for the functioning of university, everything is granted by UGC. There are some institutions, for example, for RIE, it comes from NCERT. For that means NCERT directly gets it from Ministry of Education. But when it comes to central universities or universities in general, UGC is the one that releases the funds. So, what is the major role of UGC? UGC's main function is to promote high quality research in undergraduation and post graduation institutions where PhD or research is also there. Then curriculum development. UGC is a suggestive body that helps in preparation of curriculum for undergraduate level, postgraduate level. Okay, so UGC is one body that works at curriculum development for undergraduation and post-graduation level, and it also looks into quality assurance in college. What is the quality, or how is the teaching going on, how are the whole system functioning, all those things, quality assurance they will be doing. So what are the implications for teacher education? What are the teaching implementation? So UGC follow UGC guidelines for B.Ed curriculum teaching standards. Okay. B.Ed curriculum, please don't get confused. B.Ed curriculum is suggested by NCTE, but B.Ed curriculum is also developed by NCTE based on the guidelines given by UGC. That is something that you need to keep in mind. So NCTE, while preparing a curriculum for teacher education programs, they will also look into the guidelines that are suggested by UGC because B.Ed programs are also have to come under any of the particular university that is being that plans to offer the program. Then UGC fund resources. So usage of UGC fund resources will be done. This might be for developing of lesson plan. Maitri, you want to say something? Yes, Maitri? I think she has unmuted accidentally.
Sir, it's not me, sir.
Okay, okay. Sorry. We'll go ahead. Yes. Okay. So under UGC, a lot of programs have come. UGC also participates in development of e-resources where faculties from prominent universities that fall under UGC have participated in development of resources. So UGC SWAYAM courses that are there, these are for professional development of teachers that has been prepared by UGC. The second one is National Council of, please remember it's not for, it's of, National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCERT. NCERT was established in the year 1961. The headquarters of NCERT is in New Delhi, Aurobindo Marg. And what are the key points that we need to know with respect to NCERT are? It's NCERT as similar to UGC is an autonomous body under Ministry of Education and its role is advisory in nature. So what NCERT does? NCERT advises on school education policies and programs to Ministry of Education. Other than that, No issues, no issues, no issues, Nagendra. Other than being an advisory body to Ministry of Education, NCERT also publishes textbooks, supplementary materials, and multimedia resources from class 1 to class 12. Okay. Other than that, NCERT also offers teacher education programs through various RIs. Namely, they have 6 RIs. You are aware of the 6 RIs that are there under NCERT. Then NCERT also does a lot of teacher training. In-service teacher training is also taken up by NCERT. Either states come with a request, so NCERT proposes a program on a particular area to train teachers. That is done. NCERT also has a vocational education wing known as Pandit Sundarlal Sharma Central Institute of Vocational Education at Bhopal, and that looks into the vocational education aspect for the entire country. Yes, NCERT also participates in preparation of e-content for Swayam, for PM e-Vidya, and also Swayam Prabha. Basudharini, can you please stop annotating the screen? Thank you. Yes. Then, NCERT has worked a lot for universalization of elementary education, UEE. And when RMSA and SSA were launched, NCERT was one of the played a key role in ensuring the implementation of SSA and RMSA, not the new SSA, not Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. I'm talking about the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan that was with respect to universalization of primary education. That was also NCERT played a key role in implementation of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and Rashtriya Madhyamika Shiksha Abhiyan. Then, teaching implications. Usage of NCERT textbook is something that is done all across India. Even many of the states use NCERT textbooks, and based on NCERT textbooks, they develop their own textbooks or modify their own textbooks. Then, NCERT also conducts in-service training based on a lot of things. In very recently, I was involved in two in-service training programs. One was on life skill education as per on the guidelines of NEP 2020, and the other one was on experiential learning, which you both are aware, both of which you are aware of. And then the example that is given is teacher teach class 10 science using NCERT books and e-Pathshala videos. Then comes the next one, that is IITs. IITs were established in the year 1950, the first one being IIT Kharagpur. Can anyone tell me in which state does IIT Kharagpur fall in?
West Bengal.
Thank you, Hemant. So IIT Kharagpur is in West Bengal. So as per now, there are 23 IITs across India. Then there are headquarters. Each IIT is its own autonomous body, and so IIT Council is there in New Delhi. Then IIT Kharagpur, West Bengal, IIT Delhi. All those things are there. The key points that we need to know is that these are network of 23 autonomous engineering institutions under Ministry of Education, declared as institutions of national importance. Okay, so for an institute to be declared as institute of national importance, a bill has to be passed in the parliament. And through Parliament, it is declared as Institute of National Importance. So in these IITs, you can see programs like B.Ed, B.Tech, M.Tech, PhD programs. Now, under the guidelines of NEP 2020, IITs have also started offering high-tech integrated teacher education program, and some IITs have also started offering humanities courses. They have developed departments where they offer humanity courses like history, political science, economics. All these programs are also in few IITs. It has started. Then when it comes to teaching implications, we used IIT developed resources. For example, NEPTEL. NEPTEL, what is NEPTEL? Can anyone tell me? What type of platform is NEPTEL? I'll rephrase my question. What type of platform is NEPTEL?
Free coaching for JEE students recently launched.
No, Hemant. NEPTEL is a MOOC course, MOOC portal, massive open online courses where you can enroll and pursue degrees. It might be some kind of, not degrees, programs. Certificate programs can be pursued through NEPTEL. And once you join your undergraduation course, are eligible to pursue these programs. And most of these programs are related to STEM teaching. And IITs are the one that offer these courses. If you find free time sometime, please enter into NEPTEL portal. You'll find a lot of courses. So much material is available, course design, the curriculum, everything is given there. Also, they are now using these resources. You can guide students towards IIT entrance exams like JEE, right? Then you can share. Example is sharing NEPTEL videos with class 12 students. So Vasudharini has asked, uh, what is STEM teaching? Okay. So when we talk about in yesterday's class, also we were discussing about STEM. Can anyone tell me the full form of STEM?
Science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
Yes. Thank you, Hemant. So STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So these programs that are offered in IITs and also through NEPTEL are majorly focusing on the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And someone has asked full form of Gandharvini has asked abbreviation of NEPTEL. It's National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. Okay, NEPTEL is National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. So this is a massive open online course platform where you can do a lot of courses. You can join and do courses. The next one is CBSE, Central Board of Secondary Education. Established in the year 1962, it has its headquarters at Delhi. So the key points that we need to know is it is also an autonomous body under Ministry of Education, and it governs school curriculum and examinations for affiliated schools. So what are the what is the other thing that CBSE does? It instructs the implementation of NCERT textbooks. And also it conducts board examination for classes 10th and 12th. One of the major key roles CBSE has is to promote NEP 2020 reforms like competency-based education or other things. And when it comes to teaching implications, we need to align with CBSE syllabus and NCERT materials. Okay, and as teachers, we need to prepare students for CBSE board exams using exemplar questions. If anyone has studied for class 10th and 12th, CBSE offers a lot of materials, not only for students, but for teachers also. For students also, there are a lot of materials that CBSE prepares and distributes, and so it does it do for teachers also. For example, you can use CBSE sample papers for 10th math practice as a mathematics teacher at school level. The next one is AICTE, All India Council for Technical Education. There was a question, in one of the PYQ, they had asked the abbreviation of AICTE, and they had replaced for with off at one place. Remember, for NCERT, it's off. For AICTE, it's for. So AICTE established in the year 1945 as an advisory body, and it got its statutory status in 1987. Okay, headquarters again in New Delhi. What are the key points? Again, a statutory body under Ministry of Education regulates technical education across India. But remember, IITs will not come under this, I guess. Does IITs come under AICTE? The degrees offered? Yes. So as IITs are autonomous bodies, the degrees offered by IITs do not come under AICTE. But all other central level institutions do follow AICTE. Okay, you might have come across that, or you might have heard with someone or seen somewhere in the websites they write on AICTE affiliated, all those things they write. Then approves teacher education programs and ensures quality standards, AICTE. It also supports innovations like AICTE approved online courses. AICTE was also a key member in development of SWAYAM courses, especially in with respect to technical aspects, technical courses that were being offered on SWAYAM. AIC was one of the key partners that helped in development of those programs. Teaching implications, ensure B.Ed programs meet AICTE standards. The B.Ed programs that is being offered should meet technical standards. Use AIT resources for technical skill development among teachers. Okay. So what you can do as a teacher, you can enroll in an AICTE approved course for ICT skill development as a teacher. The next one, the sixth one is National Council for Teacher Education, NCTE, established in the year 1995. Advisory body since 1973, but it was a part of NCERT then. Headquarters in New Delhi. Then key points that you need to remember is it's a statutory body under Ministry of Education and it oversees teacher education standards and programs. So it regulates B.Ed program, D.L.Ed program, B.Sc.B.Ed program, B.A.B.Ed program, and it has some other programs under its innovative courses. And under innovative courses, it has M.Sc.Ed program, which is offered only at RI Mysuru all across India. Then integrated B.Ed M.Ed program, which is offered only in RI Bhopal. But now Tata Institute of Social Science has also taken it, and in the Mumbai campus, and I'm not sure if they're offering it in other campuses or not, you can find out. But even Tata Institute of Social Science is also offering integrated B.Ed M.Ed program. So, and what are the other things that it does? It sets minimum qualifications for entry into the teaching profession. But the biggest problem that NCT is still facing is with the challenge of substandard teacher training institution. Rajata asks, what is DL.Ed? DL.Ed is Diploma in Elementary Education. There is DL.Ed. There is also B.L.Ed, Bachelor of Elementary Education. Okay, these courses are something that you'll find in North India. They're not offered in South India. And RI Mysore had taken up B.L.Ed at one point of time, but they closed that course after 2 years, I guess. So these are the definitions of DL.Ed and B.L.Ed. Then teaching implications. So you, as a person who is pursuing a B.Ed program for anywhere across India, you should know that your B.Ed degree is from NCT recognized institution. Otherwise, your B.Ed degree will not be considered. As a teacher, you should follow NCT guidelines for teaching practices. Okay. So example is verify NCT approval for your B.Ed college. So NCT also played a major role in development of e-content and digital resources for SWAYAM and other platforms also. Okay. And the National Professional Standards for Teachers, NPST, under such recommendation under NEP 2020 is being taken up by NCTE. Okay, NPST is now the program of National Professional Standards for teachers is undertaken by NCTE. The next one is CIET, Central Institute of Educational Technology, established in the year 1984. Headquarters in New Delhi. CIET is a constituent unit of NCERT, and it promotes educational technology all across India through radio, through TV, through digital media, including YouTube, Facebook, and all social media platforms. So CIET helps in development of e-content, supports PM E-Vidya, Diksha, and teacher training programs, and also it has developed a lot of material for Swayam. Me, luckily, as I was studying in NCERT during that time, I was involved in the process of preparation of e-resources under PM E-Vidya. And NCERT has also prepared e-resources for something called as NROER. Can someone abbreviate NROER for me? So NROER is National Repository for Open Education Resources. Please remember that. NROER means National Repository for Open Educational Resources. You can go into NROER website and access a plethora of resources that are there. Then CIET also conducts Gandharvini. Okay, Gandharvini has asked in the group, what is the difference between AICTE and CIET? AICTE is for technical courses like UGC is for undergraduate courses. Okay, B.Tech or what to say, BE, Bachelor of Engineering, all these courses are governed and the institution should be affiliated to AICTE. AICTE is for engineering. CIET is a part of NCERT. Like RI is under NCERT, CIET is also under NCERT, and CIET undertakes specific functions with respect to technology, educational technology. Okay, Gandharvini? Yes. So CIET also takes up programs at the national level with respect to guidance and counseling of students. So these are done in the form of Paricharcha. Okay, these are done in the form of Paricharcha. Our institute faculties are involved in Paricharcha, and we have a very famous faculty here who is also head of the department who takes care. And you can go online and see that they have produced n number of videos with experts in the areas for students, for counseling students and guiding them. Also, NCERT does through CIT something known as Sahyog, where for the students' mental well-being and support, a lot of content is produced, and we luckily got to be the part of this. And we have also participated, which is live aired on TV, and it is put live on YouTube, and later it is present in YouTube also. Okay. Then CIT also coordinates with SIETs. So at national level, we have NCERT, National Council of Educational Research and Training. What about state level? What do we have at state level?
SCERTs.
Yes, at state level, thank you, Hemant. We have SCERT, State Council for Educational Research and Training. For or off?
DIETs.
SIETs, okay? SCERT, State Council for Educational Research and Training. So at national level is NCERT, state level it's SCERT. Under NCERT we have CIET at national level. Similarly at state level under SCERT we have something called as SIETs, State Institute of Education, Educational Technology. These are for multimedia dissemination across the state level. What NCERT is doing at the national level, CIT is doing at the national level, SIET is doing at the state level. So what are its teaching implications? You can use CIT resources for interactive lessons to teach as a teacher in your classroom. Also, you can participate in training programs for the development of ICT skills that are offered. Training programs are offered, diploma courses are offered. You can just have a look at it and you can enroll if interested. Example is you can show a CIT produced science video for class 8 students. The next one is PSSCIBE, Pandit Sundarlal Sharma Central Institute of Vocational Education, established in the year 1993 in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. So CIET is inside RI Bhopal. Inside the campus of RI Bhopal, we have CIET. Very nice building, beautiful thing it is. Then, what is its role? It is a constant unit of NCERT, PSSCIBE also. What is its role? It focuses on vocational education and teacher training at the national level. So what does it do? It develops curricula and training modules for vocational skills in schools. And it also aligns with NEP 2020 emphasis. NEP 2020, we have discussed, it has emphasized a lot on skill-based education. So for that, curriculum is developed by PSSCIBE. What are its implications? Integrate vocational skills, for such example, coding, agriculture. There are lots of examples into lessons. Then you can, as a teacher, you can use PSCIB resources for career guidance to students. And an example is given for a teacher, teach class 11 students basic computer skills using PSSCIB modules. The next is IIITs. IIITs is Indian Institute of Information Technology. You all might be aware of that. Established in the year 1996. The first IIIT is Vasudharani, can you please stop annotating? Yes, the first IIIT. Vasudharani, you can just stop annotating. Yes. So the first IIT was in Gwalior, and at present we have 25 IIITs. Okay. So these are also autonomous institutions coming under Ministry of Education. They're directly funded by Ministry of Education. So 5 are central and 20 are running in PPP mode. Can anyone help me with what is this PPP mode?
Private public partnership.
Thank you, Hemant. So it is public-private partnership or private-public partnership mode, where the private institutions and the government institutions come into collaboration as partners and run the whole thing. So main focus of IIITs is on IT and design, IT design and manufacturing. So what do? They offer courses like B.Tech, M.Tech and PhD programs, and the main purpose is to support technical education across country. The major problem they have right now is for few things they have temporary campuses and faculty shortages which they are trying to cope up. Then again, as teacher implications, you can use their tools that they have developed, and you can guide students, your students as teachers towards the entrance exam of these institutions. The next one is NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling. Okay, established in the year 1989. Headquarters in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Yes. So it's an autonomous body under Ministry of Education, and it provides open and distance learning for school education. It provides open and distance learning for school education. What about higher education? What is a central government institution that we have for open learning at higher education?
IGNOU.
Thank you, Hemant. It's IGNO. We also call it as IGNO, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Okay, it's IGNO, Indira Gandhi National Open University. So what does NIOS do? National Institute of Open Schooling. It offers secondary, senior secondary, and vocational courses for dropouts and disadvantaged groups. Okay, it offers secondary and senior secondary programs and vocational courses for dropouts and disadvantaged groups. It also supports NEP 2020's flexible learning goals. So as a teacher, you can guide out of school students to enroll into NIOS programs and use the materials for remediating teaching. Okay, or someone who has not completed the class 10 exam or is a class 10 dropout can enroll into NIOS and get the class 10th examination. So the summary of whatever we have discussed of the central government institutions. The first one, AICTE 1945, New Delhi. These are the key points. We'll be sharing it. IITs, UGCs, NCERT, CBSE, CIET, NIOS, PSSCIB, NCTE, and IIITs. Please also remember IGNO, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Okay. Now let me share my screen again and let me know if my screen is visible or not to all of you. Where did it go? Just in 1 minute. Yes. Okay. Huh. Is my screen visible to all of you now? So there was a lot of request with respect to national education committees and commissions that have come across different timeline and what are its key reforms, recommendations, and contributions with respect to school level education, university, and teacher education. Let us look into this now. In 1 minute. Yes. So let us start with the pre-independence commission known as Hunter Commission. The first commission is in the year 1882, known as Hunter Commission. It was formed by Lord Ripon. Okay. Why was this commission formed? It was formed to assess the primary education, the state of primary education in our country. What were the major reforms suggested by Hunter Commission? They were promotion of female teacher recruitment in schools. So transfer of school control to local bodies. Okay. And the next one is encourage use of vernacular languages for teaching at the primary level. Next reform is support rural teacher appointments. And also they talked about introduction of teacher inspection system where experts would go and give surprise visits to schools and check if teaching is taking place in schools or not. So if we look at the landmark contribution of Hunter Commission, it was the first education commission in India. Hunter Commission talked about decentralization of school administration. Okay, they talked about decentralization. That means power should be shifted from central to state or local authority. That is what they talked about. Then recognize importance of teacher training. Hunter Commission was the first commission in India, and it also recognized the importance of teacher training. And Hunter Commission suggested on the rural and female education. And it was the basis for future education policy formation in India. After Hunter Commission, we had our next one, that is RIE Commission. RIE Commission came in the year 1904. Rayleigh Commission was formed by Lord Curzon, and the main purpose was to reform university education structure in India. So, before this, I just have a question to ask you. If a question comes where they are asking you about ancient Indian universities, I hope you are aware of the two major ancient Indian universities that we had. Can you please name them? Can anyone help me out with it?
Sir, Nalanda and Takshashila.
Thank you so much, Shreya. So, they were Nalanda and Takshashila. Nalanda and Takshashila were major universities, and at that time, in the ancient times, scholars from various countries used to come and study in those universities. So please keep them in mind just for your information. So what were the major reforms suggested by Rayleigh Commission? They introduced academic staff regulations, different regulations for the academic staff, teaching, non-teaching, all these things, regulations were put up. Then they emphasized research alongside teaching. So university's role is not only to teach, but they should also participate in research. Rayleigh Commission suggested the improvement that his salary should be improved and service conditions of professors should also be improved. And they also discussed about major reform that they brought in was with respect to institutional discipline. And they suggested standardization of curriculum across India. If a program is offered, all across India, the program should have a particular similar structure that it is being offered in, so that if someone is traveling from the one place after completing a degree and going and trying to work in another place, they should not come into some trouble, or they should not face difficulties there. So the landmark contribution. It focuses on higher education governance, improved university teaching quality, and initiated centralized teacher recruitment across India. And it also strengthened research culture in India. Then in the year 1917, we have Sadler Commission. This commission was formed by Michael Sadler. I think I accidentally opened Copilot. Yeah. So why was this Sadler Commission formed? There were issues in Calcutta University and they needed systemic reform. And these issues that came up with Calcutta University were not only limited to it, but these were similar issues that were present across India. So they thought that this is something that they need to look into, and they suggested major reforms. The first one is introduction of 12 plus 2 plus 3 system. Okay. So they suggested separate intermediate college. So they said 2 years of lower kindergarten and upper kindergarten, and then 10 years of schooling, 2 years of intermediate colleges, and 3 years of graduation. So they proposed better training for +2 teachers, the teachers who are teaching at the intermediate level. There should be better training given to teachers teaching at that level. Then they defined transition between school and college. This commission has defined what is meant by the transition between from school to college, and they've also emphasized training of school level teachers. The landmark contributions of Sadler Commission, that is foundation for modern higher education. They laid the foundation of modern higher education. They streamlined school college education flow. Right, you are entering school, from school you are entering into college. They streamlined it. So concept of junior colleges emerged from Sadler Commission. And this junior college is something that is very famous in the states of Telangana, Andhra, and so some states in South India. I'm not aware of how this is in North India, but this is how it is. And then it led to clear stages in teacher education. Okay. Then influenced future national education policies and curriculum structures. The next one in the year 1929 came the Hartog Committee, and it was formed by Sir Philip Hartog. Why it was formed? It was formed to evaluate and improve the quality of education. Major reforms that were suggested by the Hartog Committee were it advocated in-service training for teachers who are already in service. I mean, it suggested in-service training for teachers. It emphasized quality over expansion. Than just establishing institutions here and there, the more focus should be laid on improving the quality of program that is offered, facility, I mean, the overall quality of teaching learning experience that is offered should be improved. Vasudharini, I know you're asking for Macaulay's minutes and goods dispatch theory and all, but these are at master's level. I am regularly suggesting you people, whatever we are discussing in this one is also not technically required, but based on your continuous request, we have put this up. But then when we are talking about those things, the Hoods dispatch is a very controversial one because a lot of problems were there, and then there was a movement held in West Bengal, I guess, against it. All of things have happened. So even these things that we are discussing here are technically for your information and based on your request. Most probably all these things will not be asked because it is too much. Most of them is for master's level. So Woods dispatch and all Macaulay's minutes, please don't trouble yourself with that. Yeah. Where was I? So I think people are getting confused with master's level entrance, M.Ed entrance exam and B.Ed entrance. You mixed up the material or something like that might have happened, because of which all these concepts have come up. Yeah. So they are focused on quality or expansion, and they also focus on primary school teachers. And they recommended monitoring teacher performance. The same was suggested before also, and suggested improved learning outcomes at the end of the teaching learning process or at each stage. Landmark contributions of Hartlow Committee includes they introduced teacher evaluation concept. They strengthened rural schooling quality, pupil teacher ratio. They introduced PTR, pupil teacher ratio, and first quality centric school reform was brought in through this committee, and focused on retention and meaningful teaching at school level. Then comes Sargent Plan, 1944, formed by John Sargent. It was formed for a blueprint post-war education reforms. War education reforms means we are talking about technically World War II. Okay. Major reforms were proposed: free and compulsory education till the age of 14. In the year 1944, Sargent Committee talk about free and compulsory education till the age of 14. Teacher training institutions at district level. They talked about setting up of teacher training institutions at district level. Introduce moral and character learning, and equal pay structure for teachers was something that was discussed in Sargent Committee plan. And the rural teachers deployment system was also discussed. Then the landmark contributions are: first, national vision for Indian education was set up here. Teacher seen as moral builder of nation. Then they initiated pre-service training movement, pre-service training of teachers, and became a model for post-independence policies. And it also encouraged state investment in teacher education. Then the first post-independence commission was Indian University Education or University Education Commission. This commission is also known as University Education Commission, came in the year 1948-49 and was headed by Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. Okay, not formed by, but it was headed by. The chairman of this commission was Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. And the major reforms that were suggested was it recommended creation of UGC. So University Education Commission recommended the creation of UGC. They emphasized on research teaching link. Then they also gave specific guidelines regarding ethical conduct of university teachers. And they talked about improved fellowships and academic ranks, and introduced teacher-student academic dialogue in institutions. So what are the landmark contributions? Based on the recommendations of Radhakrishnan Committee report, UGC was established. Then they also set quality benchmarks for higher education. They improved the prestige of Indian universities, and they brought in more accountability into academics. Right? So this committee was very much important and was a basis for all future university reforms across India. Post University Education Commission report, next to is Mudalayar Commission, 1952-53. So this commission was chaired by Dr. A.L. Mudalayar. Okay. So this was with respect to restructuring the secondary education. So major reforms they suggested: multi-purpose secondary schools. They laid emphasis on vocational education and introduced subject specialist teachers. They also talked about guidance and counseling programs at secondary level and refresher course for in-service teachers to improve their overall development. Landmark contributions of this committee report: it is strengthened school to work transition, standardized curriculum at secondary level, encouraged teacher specialization, blended academic and technical skills, and supported adolescent-friendly teaching approaches. Next one is a very important one, Kothari Commission 1964-66. So this again not formed by but chaired by. The chairperson of this report was Dr. D.S. Kothari. And why was it prepared? To create a national educational framework to suggest reforms of national education frameworks. Please ignore this term. It's not, I think it was a typing mistake here. So Dr. Kothari Commission was the one that introduced 10 plus 2 plus 3 system. Okay, 10 years of schooling, 2 years of intermediate, and 3 years of undergraduation. Then it proposed diets for teacher education. Diets are District Institute of Education and Technology. Diets are present in each district across India. They offer teacher training programs, and they also look into the teacher development and teacher training means pre-service programs are offered at diets, and they also look into the functioning of schools and other things at the district level. Then common school system is something that they promote, and they also talked about linking teacher performance to promotion. And uniform national teacher standards were brought up by this commission. So this committee report was a backbone for first policy on education NPE 1968. This is the most comprehensive education policy. That's why this is still discussed, and even the new education policies mentioned. So they suggested they said that education equal to national investment. So if we are improving the quality of education, in turn we are investing on the growth of our nation. This is suggested by Kothari Commission. Then they also talked about balance, access, and quality in teacher education, and advocated vocational plus value education at school level. The next is our first national policy on education that came in the year 1968, NPE 1968. So prepared by Government of India based on Kothari Commission. It was prepared to implement the Unified National Education Strategy. So what are the major recommendations given by NPE 1968? They talked about equal teacher recruitment opportunities. They laid emphasis on regional language training. Three language formula. Three language formula is not new. NPE 1968 also talked about three language formula. Please remember that. Then they encouraged female teacher education, and they also promoted teacher training for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe groups. And they also brought in national standards for teacher qualification. Landmark contributions of our first national policy was, it is the first national policy. It also talked about teacher equity and merit-based system. Then talked about language and curricular diversity in teaching, and boosted teacher status and pay parity. Pay parity is a difference that was there in the pay scale from primary teachers to middle stage teachers to the secondary teachers. Then came National Commission on Teachers 1 and 2, 1983-85. It is also known as Chattopadhyay Committee Report. Okay, so it was headed by Professor D.P. Chattopadhyay for school level and Vasant Chatterjee for college level. It was formed to review teacher education and working conditions of teachers at the national level, all over country. Major reforms suggested by this committee report was they introduced career advancement schemes. Okay, so a teacher who is particularly teaching at a particular level and has a qualification of a particular level can improve their qualification and go out towards, they can do upward mobility and advance in their career. Professional ethics and accountability of teachers was suggested by this recommended or talked about by Chattopadhyay committee. They defined teacher workload and roles, and they also talked about incentives for teacher excellence. Here also they talked about performance-based promotions. So landmark contribution of this committee report was teachers recognized as professionals. So we say teaching is a profession and teachers are professionals. This committee paid a lot of emphasis, laid a lot of emphasis and recognized teachers as professionals. Academic freedom and innovation support was given, and they suggested better pay and job security measures for teachers. And they introduced structured teacher growth plans, and they also talked reformed B.Ed and M.Ed programs at the national level. Then came the second national policy, NP 1986, again brought in by Government of India and prepared by NCERT. Please remember, The National Policy on Education 1986 was prepared by NCERT, and also the 1968 was prepared by NCERT. Then, why was it formed? To address access, equity, and quality in education. Major recommendations of NP 1986 are establishment of diets for teacher training. Though diets were suggested by Kothari Commission, the establishment took place after the NP 1986, District Institute of Education and Technology. Yes. Then strengthening of pre-service and in-service training was suggested for teachers. Then special programs for women and rural teachers. Operation Blackboard for school improvement. Operation Blackboard came into effect in the year 1987, 88, I guess. And Operation Blackboard, though it talks about Blackboard, that main purpose was to improve the quality of schools that are there at rural level by improving the infrastructure. They suggested that minimum 2 well-furnished rooms should be there, which are functional in all different types of weathers. Then they talked about basic facilities that should be provided at school, separate washrooms for boys and girls, and then other facilities, drinking water facilities. All this was undertaken under Operation Blackboard for school improvement. Then training of adult and non-formal education teachers was also suggested. The landmark contribution of NP 1986 was largest investment in teacher education infrastructure was done during this thing. As I said, they suggested that there should be a primary school at 3 kilometer radius of every village in India and a higher primary school at 5 kilometer radius. This was suggested by NP 1986. They set up SCERTs and diets nationwide. State Council of Education Research and Training and diets were set up under the recommendation of NP 1986 across India. Then they also decentralized teacher education planning. Teacher education planning should not only be done at central level, but state should also actively participate in developing the teacher education programs and planning of it. Then they promoted inclusive education for all and they guided reforms through 90s and early 2000s. The next one was Acharya Ramamurthy Committee Report 1990. So this was formed to review, revise, and implement the National Policy on Education 1986. So that's why after this came the 1992. That's why it is known as Plan of Action, because based on the recommendations of Acharya Ramamurthy, it was taken up. So major reforms here are they introduced school clusters and peer learning. They strengthened local teacher appointments, promoted autonomy for teacher training institutions, and they also restructured B.Ed curriculum. And they emphasize on community involvement. Remember, NCTE became a statutory body in the year 1995. So NCTE was still not there. So that's why these committee reports are talking about revision, restructuring B.Ed curriculum and all those things. Landmark contribution, they brought teacher education closer to local needs. They strengthened teacher accountability, emphasized pedagogical renewal, and built framework for participatory management. Then they directly influenced the 1992 Plan of Action. So 1992 Plan of Action, National Policy in Education. So it was to align teacher education with economic liberalization. And the major reforms were introduced ICT in teacher training. ICT became a part of teacher training, but still it was not compulsory. ICT became compulsory part of teacher training in the year 2009-10, I believe. Then they also focus on performance-based teacher roles, new norms for teacher qualifications, enhanced teaching diversity, and monitoring and accountability systems were set up to look into the quality of teacher education programs, teaching, and in-service training. Then, landmark contribution, first teacher policy in post-liberalization India. They encouraged digital preparation, learning and preparation of teachers. They professionalized teacher recruitment started happening after this, and they improved teacher transparency and supervision and strengthened institutional quality controls. Then in the year 1993 came Professor Yashpal Committee report or Yashpal Committee, which someone had asked. So this committee brought in the learning without burden. So to address the burden of rote learning in schools, from there we should shift to constructivist mode of teaching. Major reforms were promoted learning without burden, encouraged concept-based pedagogy, they retained in-service training teachers in pedagogy, simplified curriculum and textbooks, and emphasized on child-centric teaching, as I said. Constructivist mode of teaching, child-centric teaching. So major reform was the report that was brought in, which was known as Learning Without Burden. They laid foundation for NCF 2005 and shifted teacher role to facilitator, because NCF 2005 talks a lot about constructivist mode of teaching, student-centered learning, and the Yexpal committee report formed a foundation for this. Then they popularized active learning classrooms where there is a lot of interaction happening among teachers, students, and students. And they also triggered a national textbook reform. Then came Tapas Majumdar Committee report in 1999, formed by Professor Tapas Majumdar. Just Yeah. This was to assess the education financial needs, to assess the educating financial needs. So this was the committee that recommended that 6% of GDP should go for education. In the year 1999, it was recommended that 6% of GDP should go for education. And it is now 2025. It has been 26 years and still we are spending only 6% of our GDP for education. Separate budget for teacher education should be kept aside or should be used, was suggested by this committee. And they are boost SSA, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and teacher support grants. They encourage equitable fund distribution among schools and among different levels of schooling, to school education, teacher education, and education in general. And financial planning of rural teachers is also something they recommended. Then the landmark contribution are 6% GDP became a national standard, strengthening financial base for Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and teacher eligibility test, prioritize infrastructure in diets, and enabled SCSC teacher support schemes, and ensured long-term investment in teacher quality. Then the next one is National Curriculum Framework 2005, right? Prepared by NCERT. This was to revise the pedagogical curriculum and structure. Major recommendations were promoted constructivist pedagogy, as I was talking about, teachers as co-learners and facilitators. NCF 2005 was the one that said teachers' role is as facilitators. Then they also talked about CPD, continuous professional development of teachers, and contextual and local learning was emphasized. So what they suggested that they will prepare textbooks, they will recommend textbooks. Then states have to modify these textbooks and include local examples and contextualize the learning of lessons and other things based on the context that students are in. And it also focused a lot on multilingual education. Then the landmark contributions of this was the shape teacher mindset reform, and they aligned curriculum with the National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education 2009. So based on the recommendations of NCF 2005, NCFT 2009's main things had come. Then they established student-centered learning and basis for activity-based learning. ABL, activity-based learning, was NCF 2005, and the strengthened national curriculum coherence. Then came RTE Task Force, CABE, Central Advisory Board of Education. So Ministry of, at that time, Ministry of Education was known as Ministry of Human Resource and Development, and CABE Committee. So this was to implement the RTE Act 2009. You all are very much aware of RTE. So they made PET eligible mandatory. To become a teacher at state level, they should have teacher eligibility test for that particular state, or for national level, they should have cleared central teacher eligibility test. It made it compulsory. Without this, you cannot enter school. Then they defined teacher qualifications under RTE. Then they talked about continuous training and continuous professional development provisions. How should they be done? What are the bodies that should take it up? All those things were discussed. Then regular teacher monitoring via parent-teacher roles and all these things were done. Sorry, pupil-teacher ratio, not parent-teacher. Regular teacher monitoring via pupil-teacher ratio. They suggested that for each, one teacher, there should be 30 students. That was what suggested. And they defined duties and rights of teachers. Landmark contribution of this committee was the legalized minimum teaching standards. The universalization of primary teacher training was brought in here. They ensured accountability in public schools, and they strengthened diets and NCT's government over teacher education institutions, and they linked SSA and teacher education policies. Then in the year 2015 came TSR Subramaniam Committee. They started preparing the draft for new education policy. Okay, so major thing was that we're talking about licensure system for teachers, which is not come yet. So technically what they're talking is teachers should have something called as a license. You have license for driving, your license for medical professionals have their own license, which is offered by IMA. So similarly, they also propose a teacher should have license and they should renew this license like for every 5 years or 10 years. They should renew this license, and if they are failing to do so, they should not be allowed to continue or something like that was proposed. Then they also talked about performance-based teacher promotion, and teacher appraisal mechanism was brought in, and the curriculum overhaul for B.Ed program was discussed here, and they laid emphasis on professionalism and values that are to be followed by teachers. So from this, we came into the first draft of NEP 2020. And the first draft of NEP 2020 was inspired by this. They put for licensing framework for teachers, which is still has not come, and it has become a very big political debate because this licensing, technically it's a good thing, but there are a lot of things that are to be looked into for that. Then modernizing teacher evaluation is something that they talked about. And they also talked about restructuring NCTE. And they highlighted the school-university linkage. They said that there should be a school-university linkage. Then came the Kasturi Rangan Committee and NEP 2020. Kasturi Rangan Committee's report was submitted in the year 2019. Okay. The committee was headed by K. Kasturi Rangan, not formed, but it was headed. The chairperson of the committee was K. Kasturi Rangan, and it was to finalize the new education policy 2020. What are the major reforms? They talked about 4-year integrated B.Ed that is to be made compulsory across India. That is ITER, Integrated Teacher Education Program. They talked about national professional standards for teachers. NPST was introduced. There is still work going on NPST. They also paid a lot of emphasis on continuous professional development of teachers who are in service. And multilingual teacher training should also be done. And they suggested that if a teacher is to be recruited at any level, they should first clear that TET exam, then they should undergo an interview, followed by a demo class for recruitment. For all the central schools that are there across India, this is the procedure that is followed. They must they have to clear the TET exam, then there will be a separate exam conducted. After they clear the examination, they will have to undergo interview and a demo class, following which they will be selected. So NAP 2020 was launched after 34 years because the last one was National Policy on Education 1986. They redefined teachers as nation builders. Okay, so please remember this. NAP 2020 has stated that teachers are nation builders. Then technology-enabled teacher training is something they have talked about a lot. And universal teacher eligibility across India, CTET, was also talked, which is already being conducted. And they also focused on equity and inclusion and innovation at the was suggested by NEP 2020. So I know this was a lot of content, and you can please always go through it. So this is what we have discussed. And I think with this, we can end the session because, and I too have some work. I would only suggest you that please read the material that is suggested to you at the school level. Okay, please don't bring in or go through materials that are of higher level and that might confuse you in return. I'm not, saying that you should not go through it, but the only problem is that you might get confused because these are not necessary at present. And whatever the Macaulay minutes that are there or the other Woods dispatch are there, all those are not required at present. So thank you all of you for patiently listening to me for this 1 hour where I just continuously talked and talked. These materials will be shared by the admin group. I thank the admin group for preparing such detailed materials which I was able to use for transacting this class. Thank you all. Thank you.